Anyway, speaking on the kids, rolling into our next episode here, or our next topic, we got a lady by the name of Joy Reid. You know who Joy Reid is?
Oh man.
LGBTQ parents and parents of LGBTQ kids. Do they have parental rights?
Every parent, Joy. Every parent means every parent has the fundamental right to direct the upbringing of their children.
And liberal parents? Do liberal parents have those rights as well?
All parents. Sure.
So let me point you to some statistics, because the question becomes then who gets to decide what all kids get to read? The Washington Post took a look at about 1,000 plus book challenges that were filed, and they found that they were filed nationwide by just 11 people. Each of these people brought 10 or more challenges against books in their school district. Together, these serial filers constituted 6% of all book challengers, but they were responsible for 60% of filings in Florida.
Okay, so what she's saying is that two people filed. Now, just so people understand what's going on. People are filing against these books because these crazy authors and these liberals are bringing homosexual, LGBTQ, pornographic literature into our elementary schools. Right, Herc?
Man, it's disgusting, man. Look, man, I don't care if you're an award-winning author. I don't care if you got your a Pulitzer Prize winner, whatever the case may be. You know, there's certain things you should read later in life. You don't need to read about somebody, having experienced rape or incest as a child, man. There's certain phases, just like you're not giving a kid the opportunity to snort cocaine. You're not having him watch people shoot up dope. There's certain things you got to protect your children. So if the definition of a child is somebody who needs protection, that's what a parent does. So for this lady to be advocating, these certain books and this and that, well, look, as a child, does a child need to be looking at Pornhub? Does a child need to be looking at Scarface? There's certain things that you should wait later in life and let that child at least have the opportunity to be a child before you, expose them to something that gets rid of their innocence. Let a child be innocent.
Yeah, I totally agree, because this is what it comes down to. I have 3 kids of my own. They're still pretty young. They are little sponges. However I raise them, whatever I tell them, they will start becoming. I mean, it's literally that simple.
That's right.
I tell my daughter when women are in bikinis, and when I'm scrolling through my Instagram, she'll be peeking over my shoulder. And every time I know she's watching and we see a girl in a bikini, she'll say, "Ew, why is she dressed like that? She's a caca girl." Because I raised her that if you show all your skin to the world, you are a caca girl. Now, I'm not saying that that's necessarily true. I get it. If you're 23 and you're out having a good time, it doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad person. But for my daughter personally, I don't want her on social media showing her body. So I have not necessarily programmed her, but I have given her my opinion as a man. This is what I think of women who dress this way, act this way, and now she's developing into the woman I am choosing her to become. I stayed in her life. She's my responsibility, and this is how I want my child raised. And what's killing me is, correct, it's my right. It's my right as a parent.
Look,
now,
man,
yeah, go ahead.
Growing up, when they have parent-teacher conference or you drop your kids off at school, you don't drop your kids off in a G-string. You don't drop your kids off showing all your body and shaking ass. And that's not appropriate. There's certain things that's not appropriate, man. When did it become appropriate for these things to enter the classroom? I remember taking even sex education. You had to get a consensual form from your parents.
Correct.
And it wasn't until the junior year of high school that they even really allowed that. You were not showing, all this other stuff in school because it could be offensive, man. It wasn't something that was part of the curriculum. And when all this became really a issue in the school, when they got rid of school prayer and a lot of other things, like as far as like Pledge of Allegiance and all this, they replaced it with sexuality.
I was just about to say that. That's when it all went downhill after the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah. When they got rid of the Pledge of Allegiance and they started allowing all this sexual content to enter into the schools, this is by design. Just like you said, your daughter's a sponge. And it is all right for you to say that's caca. because you want your daughter to have certain morals and values, so
Correct.
she doesn't look at herself as just something that's an object. So you're
Correct.
trying to teach her values, and that's what you should be able to do. Every parent should be able to do that. Now, if you want to tell your kids something at home, that's your business, but the school is a
Right.
public place and it should be protected. And parents got to
Correct.
start speaking up. They need to quit being weenies. Like this lady
Yep.
right here, she's stepping up.
And I agree. And that's what's bothering me. The fact remains that there's not enough parents waking up and stepping up. And you know what it is? I think that a lot of parents are asleep. And I say that because I was asleep. I didn't know that there was literature in my kids' school systems that had gay sex in there. I had no idea. And you know what it is, Herc? It's these 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old liberal kids that are coming out of college with a degree to teach art, liberal arts, that are teaching first, second, third, fourth, and fifth grade. And they have an agenda. They're walking into our school systems with an agenda. I'm going to
Yeah, but
them
see, no,
to
but you
message.
got to remember, they're getting that agenda from the school board. So who's in the school board? You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Oh, yeah.
you
It
gotta
all
go
comes
after,
from a major agenda.
yeah, man, you got to go to all the way up the ladder, man. Get them bastards out of the school board, and these
Yeah.
parents got to quit being scared to offend somebody. It's
Right.
offensive for you to show nut and balls to a kid. That's offensive, man. That's
Yes.
offensive, man. And
When my
if you
kids go to school,
no, I
go
said if
ahead.
you were to do that in front of my child, I'd punch him in the face.
Yeah. Yeah. At the end of the day, my kids go to school so that they can learn how to read, they can
That's
learn
it.
math,
That's it.
science, the things that I cannot teach as far as educational purposes, so that they can, learn as far as their morals, as far as their character, as far as when they learn about sex, all that stuff. That's my job. I will teach them that. I did not send my kids to an elementary school to get a sex education. This is not
You know what?
sexual education I'm sending them to.
She should have asked that lady about that too. Why is it so important to teach them about sexual content, but you're not focused on academia? You're not focused on math, on science, on vocabulary. Why aren't you
Because
focused
we're
on that?
declining. And this is the worst part about it. Our kids, our reading levels, our math levels, especially in Clark County in Las Vegas, where we have one of the worst school systems in America. We're declining. Things are getting worse. And you want to focus on sex and teaching young kids about what homosexuality is and what transgender is. You want to confuse the shit out of my kids, but they're declining in math. How about you make my child efficient in math, in reading, in science, and get them prepared to go on to the next level of their life before you start trying to tell a little boy that he's not necessarily a little boy. Because if you leave it up to them, they'll sit all the kids down and say, none of you are boys and girls. We're all just it's, and you can be anything you want to.
Well, dude, when I was a kid, I wanted to be Aquaman. I used to get in the bathtub and be in there for an hour, trying to be with my little toys. And then I wanted to be Spider-Man. I used to try to buy the little Spider-Man toys from Kmart and think I had web and think I can climb trees and stuff. Dude, there's all kind of shit you want to be.
Right.
But your parent is the one who protects you and keeps you in reality so you don't do stuff. I remember as a kid, my grandmother told me, do not touch the lighter. And she went and did something, and I pulled it out. I looked at it, and I touched it and burnt my finger. Now, I learned a hard lesson. She said, didn't I just tell you? And she came back, I got a spanking, but I learned that that's hot. You got to teach your kids. Kids are curious. And so you don't, like you said, you don't need to fill their mind with all this other bullshit. And those people, man, I'm telling you, they're predatorial, man.
They're predatorial. And here's the truth. If my kid is at school and he comes home to me, or my son or daughter is at home and they start wearing dresses and no one has said anything to them, nobody's put it in their head that they can be a girl. They're just into dresses. They're just into dolls. They just want to paint their nails. They're just this way. Hey, man, that's my child. I'm going to watch him develop. And as he gets older and keeps going that way, I'm still going to support him. But he was naturally that way. I'm going to get him therapy. I'm going to get him help. And I'm going to support whatever he wants to be. That's fine. But for my child to come home from school and say, Dad, is it true that I'm not a boy? That I could be a girl? Who told you that? Well, Miss Kelsey said that I don't have to be a boy if I don't want to. And now they're all fucking confused and they never would have done it. They never would have went that way if you wouldn't have opened your mouth. That's wrong. That's where it's
Yeah.
predatorial. That's where it's weird. So I'll tell you what, we'll finish some of this video real quick just to kind of see what the gist of what she's getting at.
Florida. Tampa Bay Times. They found that of roughly 1,100 complaints recorded in Florida since July 2022, we're talking about more than 700 just from two counties, Escambia in the Western Panhandle and Clay County. Together, those are less than 3% of the public school enrollment, 600 of those complaints, 2 people. Why should 13 people get to decide what books tens of thousands of children get to read?
Well, I'm thinking it's probably because those 13 people saw what some of the content was in the books. I mean,
ding, 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 because you guys are secretly hiding this shit and nobody knows about it because you're hiding it and being predatory about it. That's why, right, Herc? If we all knew about all these books, how many more parents would be stepping up?
Well, on the flip side, like you said, a lot of the parents aren't reading the books, so they didn't know. Maybe these parents are more involved. Yeah.
That's all it is. We just don't know. And what did she just say? Well, maybe if more parents knew about this, that's why she's on TV right now spreading awareness.
That's right.
And thank God for those 2 people that brought this to our attention, because we never would have known what these people were doing to our kids behind our back.
Explicit, graphic, sexual content. And I'm happy to talk about some of that content if you'd like to.
Well, this is the question again. The books that are being banned.
She don't want to talk about the content, Herc. You see that?
No, she don't.
Because she knows it's wrong.
I want to give you just
hold on
a second. Well, no.
What'd you say, Herc?
You know what? I was gonna point out too, man. They get these. I'm gonna be raw with it, bro. They get a black woman that she for one as a black woman, and then liberal, and then she's gonna use the race card. They're gonna use the race card. So if you challenge her. You cannot challenge a black woman in America about anything that, especially if you're white. And so they're using her as a blocking shield to push an agenda. That's all it is, bro. It's raw and simple.
And you know what? You hit it perfect because they'll do that and then they won't talk. See how she avoided the content of the books? Well, what did the lady say? Well, let's talk about the content in the books.
And hold on, Vega. They see there was a brother I've seen at a school board meeting talking. Put the brother on there against her. See, they're not going to put a black against a black.
No,
they're going to put a white person against a black.
And this is, and like you said, they're going to hide behind the fact that they're black, that she's a woman. They're going to find it now. If they could get somebody disabled, they do that on top of it, right? I mean, any type of thing. Well, you can't disagree with me. Why? Because you're only disagreeing with me because I'm black, or you're only disagreeing with me because I'm a woman. Well, you're only disagreeing with me because I'm disabled. So you're not going to argue the facts. You're not going to, come clean and just be real about what's going on. You don't want to talk about the content in the books because it's disgusting. And yeah, you're right, Herc. You're 100% right. But you know what though? That's why it's important that there's people like you. There's people like Candace Owens. You know what I mean? We need more people to come out and be aware of what's going on, because people will fall for the fact that this lady is black arguing with a white woman, and they're just going to take that black lady's side because they don't like white women. But if they actually saw what this black woman was trying to fight for and was trying to push pedophilia onto our children, they'd be like, damn, lady, what the hell are you talking about?
If they had the choice to have their kids sit there while she reads some of these books, then they would think differently, man. You know what I mean?
You know what's so bad? Go ahead. People what?
Like you said, the first thing you see is a black woman and a white woman, and they're using the black woman against the white woman against the black woman, and making it either racist or bigotry.
Yes. And that's what they're always going to divide and conquer us that way. And last thing I'm going to say, if that content, if they put it on MSNBC, opened that book, showed the pictures, and started reading it to the audience, they would get fined. They would have to take it off air. They can't, but they can show a 7-year-old in school. It's appropriate for school children at 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, but you can't show it on MSNBC.
Hey, man, that's a great point. I would say, you know what? That somebody should say that. Read the book on your channel.
On live. That's what I was going to say. Read the book live right now.
Yeah. Read it live, Joy, and let's see if you guys can stay on the air.
Watch how nervous she gets. I guarantee you she wouldn't do it, but if she had to do it, she would just put her head down and she would lose.
Yeah.
You crush people with facts, they're going to fall back on racism and and this is what kills me, Herc.
I would love to get on there, man. That's the only thing I'm gonna say. I said, Joy, get the book. Read the book out
That's
loud
it.
for it.
Listen, I'm not here to debate. I'm not here to argue. Here's the book. Read it. I'm not saying a word to you until you open it and read it to the audience right now. Well, we
That's
can't
right.
show that on the MSNBC. Oh, you can't show adults, but you want to teach it to my 7-year-old.
That's right. That's right.
Checkmate, bro. It's checkmate. You know?
Checkmate.